So I'm sick, which explains the voice. And on my camera, I look very blue right now. We will see how it turns out after editing. Just cross your fingers that it works out. Hey everyone! Today we're doing the representation book tag. This tag was created by Iris Moon. I will link to their channel in the card and in the description where you can watch the original video. Iris intended for this tag to be compatible not only with books but with any kind of media. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. The first question is, introduce yourself. What are your identities? What are your pronouns? I'm Flynn. I am transgender, non-binary. I'm panromantic, demisexual, and I am a white German person. I am pronoun indifferent, so he, she, it, toast, whatever. Question number 2 is, what is the first book/media you ever felt represented in? Now, to answer this question, I have to point out that I only came out to myself as trans in the last year. I only figured that out then, but I always used to be kind of a tomboy growing up. In hindsight, it was very obvious. But growing up, the only representation for a non-binary trans person I had was actually in Sailor Moon by Naoko Takeuchi. Now, this is not the first volume of the series. This is volume 7, because this is the one. In volume 7, chapter 23, Infinity 1, we meet Haruka Tenno. This is Haruka Tenno. Yes, the manga is in German, don't judge me. Haruka is a race car driver. This is Haruka's girlfriend, Michiru, at the arcade where he just played a race car game. And they're all like, oh my god, he's so handsome. So everyone in the manga is constantly on about how handsome Haruka is and how cool he is and how they're all crushing for him. Until something happens. Now, the scene you're about to see is from the 1990s anime, so that's not exactly how it happens in the manga, but it's pretty freaking cool. I hope you can read the subtitles, they're a bit blurry. Roll clip.
女の人だよね。僕が男だって言った覚えはないけど。
This is the 1990s. You have to bear in mind that if you watched Sailor Moon growing up, you might not know this if you watched it in English, because the English dub made Haruka and Michiru cousins. They are a couple. They're a couple made up of Michiru, who is a girl, and Haruka, who is an AFAB non-binary person. It's never actually mentioned in the book, but you can really tell. Let me just show you this picture, which is Haruka, freaking handsome and absolute goals. And this picture, which is Haruka, absolutely beautiful and sexy and so feminine, but it's both Haruka. The other one is actually also from Sailor Moon, but from the last season of it. I don't have the manga with me right now where you can see it, but here's a clip. That was Seiya from the last season of Sailor Moon. Seiya is, by day, part of a boy group called the Three Lights. By night, Seiya is Sailor Star Fighter, very feminine. I'm guessing they're both pronoun indifferent because whenever Haruka looks like a man, they use he pronouns. Same goes for Seiya. And whenever they are transformed and like in feminine shape, they use she pronouns, and I absolutely love how it's just there, no one questions it, except for this scene.
はるかさんは男なの？それとも女なの？
男とか女とか、そんなに大切なこと。
This is from Sailor Moon Crystal, which, if you know Sailor Moon, is very recent, and I think that's actually how it happens in the manga, but I love how, even though you can see the confusion on Usagi's face. She just rolls with it. It's just like, oh well, that's how it is then, I guess. Yeah, and I just love how natural it is and how it's just, you know, growing up, watching the anime and reading the manga, I always thought, like, are Michiru and Haruka, like, what are they? Like, they're a bit weird, aren't they? Because I didn't know what lesbians were. And I just thought, yeah, Haruka is a girl. You know, like, she may look like a guy sometimes, but she's a girl. Because I didn't know better. Then later on, when I was a teenager, I realized, hang on, if Haruka is a girl and Michiru is a girl and they're in love, they're lesbians. Oh my god. Haruka might have some polyamorous tendencies, which, by the way, me too, because Haruka flirts a lot with Usagi as well. I don't think that Michiru is polyamorous at all. She's very much on just Haruka. I do think that Haruka is homoromantic in the way that they are only into girls, whereas I think that Michiru is more of a bisexual slash pansexual kind of situation because she does appreciate the attractiveness of the opposite sex. That was a long answer. Question number 3 is there a character in your favorite book slash genre that represents you? I loved Sailor Moon growing up, which already makes up for one of them. But I don't really read manga anymore. I don't really watch anime anymore. However, I still absolutely love Sailor Moon. What I do read mostly of right now is YA. One of my favorite books of last year and of all time is Stranger Than Fanfiction by Chris Colfer. This has a trans person in it. Now they're binary trans, not non-binary, so it's only like halfway there, but I love the way it's done, and that's about the only other representation I have. Question number 4 is, what is the worst representation of one of your identities you have ever read slash seen? Now, as I said earlier, I am polyamorous, and I did watch the whole, I binged it, of Californication, and when I watched that, I didn't know that I was polyamorous yet, but I had heard of the term and I knew what it meant. And quite honestly, I'm pretty sure that Hank Moody is polyamorous. I also think that he does not feel compersion, which is the opposite of jealousy, where you are happy when the person you love is happy, no matter if that's with you, with someone else, with multiple people. But I think it's exploited in a very bad way. Firstly, I don't think the writers intended him to be polyamorous. I think they just intended him to be an ass. It's not in a consensual way. He basically is just constantly cheating on everyone. The other one is actually another manga called Otomen by Aya Kanno. This is not about trans people. It is about two gender non-conforming people. So we've got Asuka, who is on the cover, and Ryo, who is the girl he falls in love with. Asuka is a cis man, and Ryo is a cis woman, but Asuka is the girliest man ever. I don't mean that in a bad way, just the girliest man ever, and Ryo is portrayed as the manliest girl ever, and they fall in love, obviously, because it's a shoujo. It's very over the top, firstly, which is highly annoying. It's very, very stereotypical. Like, I get that it plays in Japan and gender roles are much more traditional in countries that have that kind of tradition. Question number 5 is, what is the best representation of one of your identities you have ever read? Now, once again, I would have to say Sailor Moon. Haruka is just everything. Haruka is goals. They are the handsomest, prettiest being in the world. I literally, like, when I was a kid, I would dress up as Usagi from Sailor Moon and as Sailor Moon. When I got my hair cut, I literally realized, like, oh my god, now I look like Haruka. oh my god, I can be such a badass now. I feel so confirmed by Haruka and so valid, and I just love Haruka. Question number 6 is, do you feel that your identities are misrepresented or underrepresented in the books / media you consume? I think so, yes. I think that bisexuals are getting more spotlight, which I think is great because I may be pan, but unless you're pointing out that a character is bisexual or pansexual by using the word, you can never really tell if they're bi or pan. I just think that that kind of branch of bi / pan is getting more exploited and more used in media, which I think is great. I'm in love with the fact that Raphael from The Mortal Instruments is asexual, which is, you know, that spectrum of asexual, that's where demisexual is. Trans humans are being more represented, but usually it's binary trans. So I just think that non-binary people kind of deserve to be represented a little bit more. Like, not in a, let's have all the non-binaries for the sake of having non-binaries, but like, just, you know, we're normal people. But I also think that, just like with Stranger Than Fanfiction, I think that there's probably representation somewhere out there, and I just have to try harder to find it, maybe. Don't even get me started on Germans being represented in non-German fiction. I have yet to read / watch something that isn't produced by Germans where German people aren't assholes. And that makes me a bit sad. Obviously, polyamory doesn't really get represented anywhere, asshole. Anyhow, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Tell me your identities down below. If you want to do this tag, then consider yourself tagged. I am tagging Matty and Aaron. Both their channels are linked in the description. If you want to see more of me, then please subscribe to my channel up here, or you can subscribe to my other channel down here where I talk about mental health. You can click here to watch a video that YouTube thinks you're really gonna like, and I will see you again next Wednesday. Bye!